starting the live video. Just in case we're going live before it says we are live. And yeah, I think we're here. I think we're live. Sorry for anybody that's been waiting. I'm really, really sorry. You know what I'm like with tech. I absolutely hate tech. So I'm really pleased with myself that I managed to get through that and find a way to work around that, which is a great lesson, isn't it? You know, we have to always sort of be thinking outside the box. Anyway, here we are for session 2 of the Self-Care Summit. This week of looking after ourselves, trying to find new ways to do that, thinking about ways that might be very helpful to us that we might have not have thought about before, and realizing why we might want to do it as well, because yeah, we hear it so often, but we don't always really understand why. You know, we get told it, you know, do a bit of self-care, but what does that mean and why should we? You know, so let's sort of make sure that we're, by the end of the week, we're understanding that from our own personal point of view, because it is different for everyone, as you'll find out this week. So I'm so excited because Yvonne has joined us, and Yvonne Phillip is the success stylist, and she's been so helpful to me. She has changed my mindset without having to do too much. You know, it's just what it's just her teaching, and her method is just wonderful. So I was made up when she offered to come along and talk and have a chat about self-care. So welcome, Yvonne.
Thank you, Tina, and I'm so pleased to be here. When I found out that you were doing a self-care summit, I said, you know, I know I'm all about success and visibility, but my 3 pillars of success are strategy, style, and self-care. And I don't just see self-care as a lot of people do, you know, going for spa days and afternoon teas or having an extra long bath, which are all really, really important. But my journey has included burnout, and now I know that radical self-care on the agenda all the time needs to be, you know, included. So when I found out that you were running a self-care summer, I was like, I want to be on there. Yes. So that's why I reached out. I think that you posted it in my group, and I was like, Tina, hello.
It was lovely because I was like, I'd love to ask Yvonne, but I think she's so busy. She's not going to be able to do it. And but you don't know these things unless you ask.
Absolutely. I always say, don't ask, don't get. Because, you know, if it's something that, one, I'm supporting fellow female entrepreneurs to kind of like elevate themselves and obviously stay grounded and stay well, of course I'm going to, you know, to do that. And because you're also in my world, I'm not going to say no unless I really, really couldn't do it. So yeah. I'm more than happy to be here. And you've got a fabulous lineup as well.
Yes, yeah, I am so grateful for everybody that said yes, you know, and nobody even hesitated. They just go, let me just check my diary and I'll give you some times, or, you know, let me see if I can do that. It's brilliant. You know, everybody is so supportive, and I think that's something that is lovely within our bit of the online world, you know, because it's not the case everywhere.
Not the case everywhere, but, you know, as you say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So you attract people that are like-minded in, you know, not only mindset, but energy and things like that. So I think that, especially, you know, us queen agers, as I call us, that, you know, are in our 40s and 50s, and we are now getting those aches and pains. We know that, having been in the corporate world, life is more than just hustle, cutthroat. You know, we need to think, you know, more mindfully and have more awareness of what we're doing to our bodies, especially as solo entrepreneurs who work a lot on our own as well.
Yes, yeah, that's it. So what would you say, you know, well, first of all, do you want to tell everybody else what you do and, you know, why you do it? Because, you know, I've obviously got a bit of an understanding of that, but I'd love you to tell everybody else.
Yeah, so I'm a success and visibility consultant, and as I mentioned before, I believe that you have to have a strategy, you have to have style, and you have to have self-care to be successful. And when I'm talking about strategy, it's the usual, your goal setting, knowing where you're going, following a plan, managing the way forward in your business. When I'm talking about style, I talk about not only what you wear, but also how you do things, how you show up, your whole essence, and how you're communicating those messages to the wider world that's going to connect with clients. And then self-care. We have to make sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of everything else in our lives. Because generally as women, and I've been there myself, taking care of everybody else, you're taking care of your children, your partner, your sister, your brother, your mum, the dog, your employees. And you end up giving from what I call giving from an empty cup. And there's only so much time that can happen before we're running on empty and we totally burn out. As we get older, we do get those aches and pains, but by not taking care of ourselves, that's when they become chronic. And I know that's what, Tina supports people with. So I call myself a success stylist because I'm not only about somebody's success, whether it's in business or in employment, but also their style and the way that they do things. So it's in line with them. As Tina says, your self-care strategy, your self-care plan is different for everybody. I like yoga and meditating. Other people might want to go powerlifting. It's up to them to find out the right strategy, for them. So that's kind of in a nutshell. I call myself a holistic success and visibility consultant because I don't just think about, we're not one being, we are three-dimensional. So we need to think about the three areas of ourselves for us to move forward and be well.
Brilliant. And how did you come about doing the work that you do now?
Okay, so basically I hit rock bottom after burning out. I was running a 6-figure social enterprise that used the arts and creative activities to address issues in the community. And I had a really, really strong business, really, really strong personal brand and business brand. But as I mentioned, I was giving to everybody else and I wasn't giving to myself. Working 7 days a week, sometimes all-nighters, then going to work the next day and, literally flying in from the airport and going straight to the office. Things, just really not taking care of myself. So I totally burnt out. So much so that I was trying to get another job, but nobody wanted, the way I was receiving it was nobody wanted to employ a failed CEO. But basically, I was overqualified for the jobs that I was going for.
Yes, you can see that now. But
at the time, it was like, woe is me. It was that I wasn't giving that positive self-talk and seeing things, flipping the script on the dialogue. So I spent about a year on the sofa, totally depressed, totally burnt out, and I really needed that radical self-care, that of rest, but also that time to think, which I hadn't had before because it was always on the go, do the next thing, do the next thing. And during that time, I identified that not only do I need to take care of myself, but I identified what I wanted to do next. I looked a hot mess, so I went for I treated myself because I hadn't bought clothes or had any form of treat for about 10 years when I was running my business. It was just go, go, go all the time. To a personal styling session, and I realized that was something it triggered a memory that's what I wanted to do as a youngster.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it for myself. It was one of those self-care moments. I'm going to do it for myself. So I retrained. I was styling clients, but then I realized that all my business development, all my career development skills were getting left behind, and I could help women with this as well. That's when I decided to merge, all three areas. And now there's the fourth area of my visibility work, because I'd also completely forgotten that I'd been a model and I'd been on photo shoots and I'd worked with photographers and videographers and I'd written in magazines, all this stuff. So becoming a success stylist is an amalgamation of my skills, my experiences and my career.
And that's another part of self-care, isn't it? Actually recognizing your skills and all that you can help others with, because helping others is a great form of self-care.
Absolutely.
It really makes us feel so much more alive and worthy ourselves. But more than that, I think it's actually recognizing those skills in ourselves and going, gee, I'm not as useless or as worthless as I thought I was, or I'm not just a one-trick pony. I can do other things,
Absolutely.
and whoever you are, you've got
Absolutely.
those
I mean,
skills back.
me merging all my skills, I think it's the best thing that I have ever done, because I feel like I'm now totally in alignment with who I am as Yvonne Phillip.
Yeah, that's that word again. We used it this morning a couple of times. So yeah, definitely.
And I really believe that this is my why. This, my whole career journey has brought me to this place. But the decision to accept that was part of my self-care process.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it makes sense. So yeah, you're actually allowing yourself to feel that, or to do that for you, not necessarily because it's the right thing to do for anybody else. It's not because it would make a better business or anything like that. It's you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And everybody, especially in the online world, it's also like money, money, money. How is that going to make you money, etc. And I'm like, money's not everything. I would rather be happy and content with a roof over my head and food in my cupboard than, being rich and miserable.
Yeah. How many people would think like that? How many people, resonate with that? Do comment, do make sure if that makes sense to you, let us know. Because when I heard Yvonne talk about that the first time, I was like, this is someone in my sphere. It's like so many people do just see business as a way of making money, and actually it's an extension of ourselves. And that's why I love your
also my top self-care is when I work with a client, seeing the smile on their face just fills me up. I remember seeing a picture of you, Tina, doing my challenge in that very same dress that you're wearing.
I know. I wore it especially because I knew you'd remember.
And this smile on your face of pride that, and I was just like, that's why I do what I do. Because although I don't teach self-care, it's all part of what I do anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And that was, that is one of the things I took from your challenge, was that, you can do this in so many ways. You don't have to, sort of go to a spa day. You don't have to just follow the rule book. If you're looking after yourself in a way that matters to you in that moment, that's self-care. It's just needing that little bit of explanation rather than just the words, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, what I do say is that your self-care habits and routines, whether they're daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, quarterly, yearly, etc., should include your mind, your body, and soul, because they're the elements of us. So what are you doing to self-care your mind? Is it meditation? Is it learning? How are you growing and developing your body? How are you keeping that machine that is your body active and well? Because I think, the pain and stuff that I'm in now is because I've been stuck in a desk. Shoulders hunched. Despite me having an ergonomical chair, you're still stuck in that, especially during lockdown, working from home. Just sometimes
we were sedentary, weren't we?
Yeah. So how are you going to move your body? Is it exercise, as in, powerlifting? Is it yoga and stretching? Is it aerobics? How is it just going for a walk?
Yeah.
How is you, and then how are you going to exercise the soul part of you and connecting with others, whether it be online or whether it be in person, whether it's going shopping and just window shopping and making sure you speak to some people? Because when you're out shopping, if you speak to somebody, they will talk back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's it. Most people are friendly, and I think we forget that. And we did over that time of a couple of years where everybody had to withdraw quite a bit. We did forget that it's not like the TV and movies where everybody's either really good or really bad. Most people are in that middle bit. Majority of us are okay human beings. We're not fabulous and like some of the fairy tale things that we see, and we're not the evil villain like Darth Vader or someone else in the film. So most people are lovely.
Absolutely. I live I live on my own. My son's 21, but he's 21, so he's, you know, he's off doing his own thing. You know, we see each other, we connect, etc. So I did an experiment, and I said, you know, every time I go out, I'm going to smile at people.
Yeah.
To see how many people smile back. Every single person smiled back at me, even if they were kind of like straight faced initially. When I kind of caught their eye and a smile came on their face. And that just made me happy. I was like, yes, you see, that filled up my cup a little bit. I've made some people smile by just acknowledging them, because we're so tunnel vision into our little sphere of the world, we forget that we are social beings. So make sure that whatever self-care practice you decide to develop, it includes your mind, your body, and your soul as in social.
Yeah, and there's lots of actual neuroscience to show that when you smile, it sends the endorphins off in your brain. It helps with reducing pain, which is one of the techniques that I do talk about sometimes, is laughter therapy. You know, going to a comedy show, meeting up with that friend that's always the idiot in the group, you know, the one that makes you laugh. Sorry, I just need to cough.
No problem.
But yeah, just to, you know, like get that that sense of joy, because we can't feel pain when we're in joy, when we've got those endorphins being released. So smiling is that first step, and it is more contagious than COVID.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I like that. A smile is more contagious than COVID. Ooh, yeah.
I might have to make a note of that for my social media.
Well, that's what I was writing down. I was just writing that down, and I was going to sort of like tag you, saying I've just been on a live in this group, and this is what. Yeah,
do that. That's fine. You do it, and then I'll just repost it. But that is, you know, that is key, isn't it? Those small moments are so much easier to fit into our life than doing something grand like a spa day that can cost money, take time out, and doesn't always suit us. I remember going to spa days and, you know, sort of being offered massages when I was in real pain. Massage doesn't help if you're, you know, if you're going to cringe at every time they touch you, or if you're feeling insecure or about your body shape, or you're not feeling comfortable even being in a room with someone in that intimate situation. So those things are lovely if they help and they are your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's what you need to, you know, hopefully as you go through this week with Tina and the rest of the speakers, you'll be able to find out what self-care method is right for you. You know, is self-care about you developing your confidence with your style and you being able to stand out as you know, a personal brand and just really feeling fabulous every day? Is that the start of your self-care journey, or is it just taking some time out and really understanding who you are? Is it you don't know what direction you're going in, so you're going to give yourself a skills audit? Or maybe you're just going to, you know, get some luscious smelling aromatherapy oils and creams and, you know, ignite your senses that way. So, you know,
I think when I was listening there, it is about senses, isn't it? It's about our senses, and it's about how they make us feel. You know, so if meeting up with a friend makes you feel all, you know, like cared for and sense of you know, joy from that, that's brilliant. If it's a sense of, you know, sort of warmth and comfort you get from a hot chocolate and a cozy blanket, like I often do. I've got my cozy blankets in my room.
I've got
lovely cushions, and sometimes it's just like soft lights and a book and a cup of hot chocolate, and giving myself half an hour to do that outside of everything else that I do. Other times, as you said, you know, it could be movement, and that's the thing that, you know, or exercise. You know, it's like, what do you need? It's identifying your needs, and they might change moment to moment, day to day, to having a whole array of different things as well. So what would you say are the ones that you use the most for, you know, have you used the most over your journey to, you know, keep you feeling, you know, sort of motivated and looked after?
I think that there is, in terms of the sense of smell, it is about bath and body products. And I have certain smells that lift me up and certain smells that relax me. And I know now when my body needs what it needs, and I'll just reach for that, because that aromatherapy essence, and I use aromatherapy oils as well, either wakes me up or it cools me down. So that's my sense of,
I've got a relax and a focus there. So it depends again.
And then in terms of kind of listening, it's about my meditation and really quietening my mind, because I'm a type of person that I am always on the go, but I'm also fearful of burning out again, because that was a really dark period of my life, and I don't want to have to go through that again. And the reason I decided to expand my business and merge my previous experience, which I'd kind of pushed to the side, it was a bad feeling that I had to close my business down, that sense of failure that you get. And it was really funny, nobody else saw me as a failure. That it's in your head that I let everybody down, I had to make people redundant, all this stuff. It's the quietening my mind. I know I need to just take stock, relax, and really stop listening to the negative Nancy and the mindset monkeys over here. Think about positive Polly and bring in those kind of things. In terms of my body, I have some muscle pain in my shoulder and my wrists, and also a bit of hip ache. I think that's where I was a dancer. I used to jump into the splits when I was younger. It's now come back to haunt me. And so for that, I do yoga and gentle stretching. So as you see, it's very, very different, but I make sure that it's all based around about me. And then at the moment I'm working quite long hours, so I have to think about, how do I give myself that pick me up around 5 o'clock? Because for any of us ladies that are in that midlife menopause stage, we get very tired very quickly. And nobody else understands it apart from us. So I know about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I need a little pick me up. So I have a little dance around my studio. With a bit of 80s or 90s music. So
I'm going to come to one of your parties. Stream it.
I might have to start doing them on social media, kind of like dance break, and we all have a little bit of a dance break together. Just to keep it moving, and also brings up your energy levels.
It does, doesn't it? I tend to go outside and play ball with the dog, because it's just getting outside and fresh air for me. It's always the thing that then wakes me up, whatever the weather. I'll pop the coat on if I need to. I'll even put a hood up if I have to. Save the hair. But it's just getting out there and making sure that you've got a bit of fresh air, and it feels a bit more freeing. So I guess that's the same sort of thing as that little bit of movement, but it's a change of scenery, it's a change of what you're doing as well, which is a really good way of breaking that monotony of the day. Sometimes not that being with clients is monotonous, but it's sometimes that whole being on the treadmill of work, isn't it? It's like,
especially if we are self-employed, so often throughout the day, the only people, sometimes if we don't have any clients to work with, we might not speak to anybody for the whole day. Whereby if we were employed, and for those employed, at least we've got our co-worker on the left or in front of it, but we can wait, we'll get up, go to the tea point. Not that we don't get up and go and make ourselves lunch and tea, but there's less of that movement, there's less of our senses being stimulated.
And there is that less of self-care, because there's less social contact, and we might go a bit longer without a drink, because you think, it's not another lure there, is it? Apart from getting a cup of tea or a drink of water, it's It's actually, you know, it's not, oh, I've just seen someone say go to the water.
Absolutely.
You know, I'll just pop over and get a glass.
Or
because I can have a
who might
chat.
I see? Let me just go for a little bit of a wander
Yeah.
to stretch my legs. It's like, well, I'll just walk to the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like doing it through need rather than actual for other benefits. So,
and often we don't identify the need. We just think, I've got to get this done. I've got to get this done. So we sit there, you know, hunched over our laptops, which obviously strains our shoulders, back pain, you know, things like that. So, I mean, in my self-care work is all, I call it self-management. All about how do you manage your day? How do you manage so that you know, you take breaks and you fit everything into a working day, so you don't have to work extra hours if you don't, you know, want to. How is your self-care managing other people? So how are you assertive so that you can take care of yourself? Because we all have those demanding bosses, children, partners that as women think, you know, because we are Wonder Women, we know that, but there's got to be,
we don't need to.
Precisely, we don't need to be, and that's sometimes where what we forget. We don't have to always say yes. So my work in self-care also works around, you know, how are you going to be assertive to make sure that it's a win-win situation and everything's not always on you.
Yeah, that's it. And learning to delegate that sort of thing as well, isn't it? You know, it's
Absolutely.
like making sure that you recognize other people's abilities and give them the opportunity to do those things,
because they'll want you, they'll love you more for it. If we empower people to grow and develop rather than feeling the need to control it all ourselves, or that nobody else can do that, we're harming ourselves and them.
Yeah, stifling other people's, you know, development.
And so take care of yourself and other people by delegating, by being assertive, doing effective decision making and setting your goals right and things like that. So yeah.
And you know, in the process of that, of doing it yourself, you're also modeling to others on how they can do it in their life. So if it's an employee or, you know, a client even, you know, and you're modeling those good boundaries and you're taking time out for self-care and you're saying no when you mean no and saying yes and following through when you mean yes, then actually, you know, they're learning vicariously. You know, it's like, it again, you know, said this a couple of times already this week and it's only Monday, but it's the ripple effect. It's, you know, like you show someone else how to be, they will start to learn how to be.
Absolutely, they'll automatically include it into their way of being. When I was growing up, we never treated, my mother never treated herself.
Yeah, mine either.
Because it was, you know, they were of that, you know, that generation, that you know, the baby boomer generation. I don't know what the generation before that, but it was literally work, and you don't leave your job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You don't
Job
stay
for
in
life.
that. Yeah, job for life. So my mum was totally devastated when I was like, oh, I'm leaving.
They were in the ration age as well, weren't they? They were just like young or just old enough to remember the effects of rationing, some of them. Yes. So I always think that they learn an awful lot about, you know, how to conserve and be insular, you know, because they had to. We don't need to anymore.
We do, absolutely.
We have an abundance of food. There's actually more jobs than ever, you know, and there are.
Yeah, my mum was all about save. And I'm like, what are you saving for? She's like, oh, this. And I'm like, yeah, but spend a little, live your life. And it wasn't until, you know, she saved enough to, you know, build a house in the Caribbean, which I totally respect her, because she's been talking about it since I was 5. It's one of those things I've always heard throughout my life. But then I was like, Mum, you don't need to do that anymore. Go and create your own happiness. And I actually had to coach her into coming out of that really fixed mindset. And I'm like, go and do things that you love. She's like, I don't know what I love.
And this is the other problem with self-care. If we don't know what we love, how do we know how to show ourselves we love ourselves?
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this this summit, is by talking to the different speakers and the different ways that we see self-care and the different ways we support people you know, with their self-care journey, you'll identify what you need or what resonates with you.
Yeah, I noticed that there's been a comment about and I think it was there for a while, because it says about money doesn't buy happiness, yet I constantly worry about it. You know, is a common one, isn't it?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, because I grew up in that household where I kept on hearing, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. My mum was a low paid factory worker, started work at, very early at the age of 15. And she was always talking about robbing Peter to pay Paul, and money doesn't grow on cheese and things like that. So I grew up with this mentality that we've never got any money, and that I will never have any money. And I used to get my clothes off the Freeman's catalogue. Freeman's, do you remember?
Yeah, Kay's catalogue. Can
That's the one as well.
My mum had Kay's. Yeah.
Yeah, and so everything was paid off. Each, you had something which was always out of date.
Yeah.
Clothes was never in fashion. It was always a couple of seasons behind. And you paid it off, bit by bit. And I was just like, we shouldn't have to live like that, or I need to break out of that mentality, because money is in abundance. We just need to start living the lifestyle which attracts more money, and open your mindset to that.
And that's a huge other area that needs to be looked at some point. But that money mindset of I haven't got enough, or there isn't enough, that lack mentality
absolutely
will hold us back. And actually looking at that in a different way can be another form of self-care, can't it? So that you can allow yourself to,
because if we have poor money mindsets or low esteem where it comes to money, we are not going to charge our worth, and then we're going to continually be in that rat race of not having enough money. So what we need to think about is, I've got a product or service here, how much, being honest with yourself, would I pay for this? And that's when we can start thinking, we can start changing our money mindset. Because if you've got a absolutely banging online course, you need to make sure you're charging the worth for it. If you've got a course but you're not confident in it, you then need to go and do some work on yourself so that you're confident enough to charge those prices and deliver it. Because I know a lot of people feel like, I'm an imposter, although, we need to get over that. Because if you can develop a brilliant course, you should be able to deliver it as well and charge appropriately.
Yeah, it often comes down to that value as well, isn't it? It's what you value. And someone that doesn't value the course isn't going to pay. Someone who doesn't not necessarily just courses, but a product or another service, if it's not something that's going to make a difference in your life, you're not going to value it. If it's going to make a big difference in your life, you'll value it more, and so you'll pay more. So absolutely. That idea of what things cost and their value is really dependent on the individual at the time and what the course is,
where they are
services offering. And that's the thing, isn't it? If we can value our own self-care, we're going to pay more for something that helps us.
What, self-care should be above strategy in your business. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're the one that's going to burn out, and then you're not going to have a business. You're the one that's going to get overwhelmed. You're the one that's going to procrastinate. You're the one that's going to be in chronic pain, not only physically but mentally as well. So although I say strategy, style and self-care, that's just because it rolls off the tongue. The self-care part is embedded in everything that should be done, because I talk about having smarter goals, which is all about obviously specific, measurable, achievable time. But I always add evaluate and reward, and that reward is part of your self-care.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I often say that, where's your gratitude here? Who's done this? You've done it. So say thank you to yourself, say well done to yourself, do something to show how much you appreciate yourself, because we don't, and I think that's a cultural thing. We've talked about this morning. It's like women very often have learned that we can't say well done to ourselves, and we cringe with praise or
do that anyway. Yeah, if it's our job to do it, you need to congratulate ourselves when we've done something, but a job well done.
I mean, most people will relate to a man that says, sorry, men, I know I have got a few in here, but
sorry, gentlemen.
Yeah, but it's just I think from the majority in the group, most people will say that their male partner will do the washing up and then look for praise. Whereas we'll say, we've done it 7 times this week.
Precisely, we're like, and
yeah. So it is that, it is a totally different mindset, and I do think there is a bit of a divide between the genders, but it's be interesting if there's anybody non-binary or in same-sex marriages or partnerships that have a different perspective on that, because I'm always interested to know what else, how does that play out? Because is it that you take on gendered roles of traditional gender roles in the UK, and if you're abroad, I know I've got some American people in the audience, so if you're somewhere else, is that the same in your cultures? Because actually I talk very much from what I know, but is it different?
In different cultures they have different, like my granddad was the main chef of the house, and my partner, who comes from Uruguay, in his culture it's the men that mainly do the cooking. And women have other responsibilities. So I think it is a cultural thing that that Western society has put that women stay at home and do all that housework and all that kind of thing, and the men go out to work. But as the feminist movement has come about, it hasn't allowed that balance in terms of, especially in our generation, how we weigh up that responsibility of household.
Yes.
So we've then taken on climbing up the career ladder and building businesses, as well as all those other gender specific traditional roles.
And anybody that's worked one-to-one with me will have heard me say, how many jobs are you doing at the moment? And when we count it up, it's at least 3. You're a housekeeper, a mum, or a partner. It's usually like a mum anyway. And you've got your business, or you're doing a career thing. So you've usually got 3 full-time jobs that you deserve to be paid your worth. You deserve to be respected for what you do. You deserve to give yourself the gratitude for what you do, because it's a hard thing to do.
And to be quite honest, that gratitude doesn't even have to cost money.
No, it doesn't.
It could be, today I'm not going to do a thing.
Yeah.
It could be today I'm just going to sit on the sofa with a glass of Prosecco and a good book.
Yeah. Do you know what? Actually, yesterday morning I'd been at the conference, and it'd been like jam-packed day, busy, lots of traveling beforehand. Knew I had traveling coming up as well, and I just had an extra couple of hours in bed. And it was just lovely, because I wouldn't normally do it, and it's not something I'm not got the time to do. And I was thinking, I've got all this stuff for the summit to do. I've got emails to write. Sometimes you need to listen to what your body needs, and I was tired. I needed to know that I could be here to deliver today.
Absolutely.
I can't run on nothing. You can't run on sort of fumes. You need to replenish constantly.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to cost money. It can be just that little bit extra time to do nothing.
Absolutely. As long as, if you decide to do nothing, still make sure that you are doing nothing to do something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. You're not getting
I just need to chill out, but really they're just being lazy and procrastinating.
Yeah. It's not an excuse to have a day off. It's actually, with purpose.
I've been working hard. I need these 2 hours.
Yeah. I think if you've got conscious choice about it, it's like a conscious decision that you're going to do this because you've got this coming up. That's fine. I'm
Mhm.
not judging anybody that doesn't, however, but from my opinion, and what I think we're both saying is that
Yeah, I don't think we
could be detrimental if you just
absolutely. I don't think we,
don't do anything thinking that that's going to look after yourself.
because your self-esteem is going to get affected, and then you're going to end up doing nothing, and it's going to be a vicious cycle of not doing anything. So you're not doing anything, and then you'll start feeling worthless, your self-esteem goes down, your confidence goes down. So you need to be honest with yourself in terms of, am I chilling so that I can come back stronger? Am I just taking a little bit of a 2-hour extra nap, to come back strong? But definitely you need to find out what your self-care strategy is.
Yeah.
And stick to it. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is sticking to it.
Yes, and we will be talking about sustainable self-care later in the week. It's what my talk is all about. Yay, making it so it sticks, because actually, it's so true. Finding what is your jam with self-care is part of it. Finding out why we need to do it is part of it, but it's also finding a way to make it stick, because doing it one-off, it's like going to the gym, and being on a diet one day a year, it's not going to get you slim. It's not going to change anything. You might feel good for that day, but you'll feel rubbish afterwards. So
absolutely,
it's definitely about making it last, and so that you enjoy it, and to make it last as well. So do you have advice that you would give, because we get to this age, don't we, and we have probably learned quite a lot, because we're those types of people that have been on lots of courses, done lots of internal work. So what would you say to your younger self? How would you advise your younger self?
I would say, have your goals, but live in the moment. Does that make sense? Especially in my 20s, I was just going to work and partying. I didn't really know what I was doing or where I was going. It was just go to work, party, go to work, party. It wasn't until I got into my late 20s, I was just like, where am I going? And by that time, I was kind of like, okay, I now need to catch up, which meant I took 3 years to decide what I wanted to do. Although I would, have your goals, have your strategy, but live in the moment so that you enjoy all of it. And create new experiences for yourself. I think that's one thing that, ladies of our age, we didn't have enough experiences, whether it be traveling, whether it be, doing things on our own that are out of the box, where, our younger counterparts, they're, my cousins who are millennials, that are, they're just living their best life, and I've got so much respect for them. So that's what I would say.
So it's sort of two parts then. It's more like have your be mindful about where you are and where you want to go, but enjoy the journey. Make sure you're enjoying it, and having those treats and doing what you want.
Absolutely. So what I do now, when I set my goals for I've got my 5-year plan, but I break it down into a year plan and then quarterly sprints. I always make sure that, like, for example, when I did my book launch, I made sure that I got myself, when I got to Amazon bestseller, I got myself a new coat. I've been saying to myself, I need to get myself a new coat, but I just haven't got around to it. So I was like, okay, I've got to treat myself. But I didn't know it was going to be a coat. But then when I saw the coat, I was like, that's my treat. Does that make,
Yes, yeah.
So,
but that's living in the moment, isn't it? It's having a goal. I want something, I might need a coat, but and then just going for it in the moment. It's not actually saying, right, I'm going to go out and get a coat, because that can be really quite pressurizing. I never find anything I want when I go specifically.
If you're looking for something, you never find it. And that's why I work the way I do, Tina, as in, once we're supported with your colour and your clothes and your outfits, we write a list of what you need to buy. Then you can always be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, that's it. When you come across it, you'll know.
Precisely. You don't have to specifically go shopping. You might be window shopping, or have a little bit of 15 minutes spare before a meeting or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't have a browse. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll have that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. because I think we've all done that, and we've gone out with some money, thinking I'm going to get some clothes, and then you come home with nothing. Or another day you've got nothing with you, and you see everything, and it's the end of the month, I've got no money.
Precisely.
Taxes are due. So it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm going to grab your book.
Oh, thank you. Oh, did it arrive? Did the new one arrive?
It's arrived with your signature in. Oh yeah, I've got my new version of my new copy of Go Happy Yourself, which is Yvonne's book. It's brilliant. Do give it a read. Do go. It's available on Amazon.
It is.
Anywhere else? Is it in
no, just on Amazon. Oh, it's available on my website, but it goes through to Amazon anyway.
You might as well get it straight from Amazon. But Yvonne Phillip, Go Happy Yourself. And you really do find yourself getting happy as you go through
Pleased. I'm so pleased.
Like, uplifting. Where else can people find you, Yvonne?
So you can visit me on my website, which is www.yvonnephillip.com. On social media, I am on Instagram and Facebook, Yvonne Phillip, the Success Stylist. And on Twitter and LinkedIn, I'm Yvonne Phillip. But on Twitter, I'm normally just ranting to the council. Probably don't follow me there.
Rant. No, we quite like a rant in this group. I do rant and reset on a Sunday. We just rant. Yeah. We have to get it on
I automatically go to Twitter now. At Lucian Council. They're being collected again. They probably think that I'm just the most crazy woman on the planet. And then on another social media platform, I'm like, everybody's zen. Everybody's
serene. But that's how we all are, though, aren't we? We all have these different sides to us, and they're all, as our last speaker said, are perfect. We're perfect just as we are, and we can have that, time to rant. We can have the time to be zen. We can have the time to have a laugh. And actually, that's the lovely
Absolutely, because as I mentioned, we're all three-dimensional beings.
Yeah.
So we have all of these different sides to us.
Yeah. So did you have any other things that you wanted to say, Yvonne, that we've not covered?
No, I think that we've had quite a nice little chat. We've covered quite a few things there. I don't know if your group wanted a little goodie. I don't know if they're allowed to have goodies.
I think they'd like a goodie.
So if you go to Yvonne Phillip, www.yvonnephillip.com/self-care-bonus, there is my 10 steps to health, wealth and happiness in there. It kind of like covers my 10-step process to self-care and self-management, and how to do it on your terms as well.
Yes. If you want to drop the links below, I think I've got them anyway, haven't I? So I can always put them in for you.
No problem. Either way, that's fine.
Yeah, and if you're around in the group this week, do watch whatever you like. And
yeah, I think I didn't get round. Although I've been promoting it everywhere. Come join it. Come join. I didn't join the group, would you believe? So I'm joining now.
Yeah, and feel free to just let people know your freebie and your group and all that good stuff, so that people know where to find you and come and say hello.
I will do that.
Yes, I hope everybody's enjoyed that. I have. I thought that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Our next talk is, I lost my list. I was so organised, and then that little technical hitch at the beginning.
That's why I was staying quiet, because I was like, I'm not going to talk too much, because sometimes you just need a clear head.
Yes.
Let me just sit quiet and wait for her to... So
our next talk is with Shona at 4 o'clock.
So you've got an hour's break, an hour of self-care for you to look.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what I did this morning. I went off and did some breathing exercises and had a nice little drink on, sat and calmed down. I get overexcited in these things.
Do really, really well. And good luck for the rest of the summit. And I will be in the group.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much.
You take care.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and share if you've enjoyed the video.